German cars are the new JDM cars. I've said it before and I'll say it again. German cars today, like my M3 right here, do exactly what JDM cars did back in the 90s. And that is the fact that you're able to put only a little bit of money and a few mods on this car and many other cars that we'll talk about today and make some insane horsepower numbers, all while doing it cheaply, easily, and reliably. And I'll say it again, if you are buying a JDM car in 2025 thinking that you are going to modify it and make some great horsepower numbers, I'm sorry, but you need to grow up. Because just like you, I grew up watching Fast and Furious and loving JDM cars too, but then I actually grew up and I got a German car because I realized if I wanted to modify a car and get some insane horsepower numbers out of a car, JDM in 2025 is not the way to go. Because much like the JDM icons from the 90s that we all know and love, German cars fill that gap in the market today. And they are some of the few cars in the market that you can put less than 5 grand of mods into it and double or almost triple the horsepower. So I'm Ryan from Gears and Gains, this is my JDM 3, and today I'm going to explain to you why if you're still buying a JDM car in 2025, you're kind of wasting your money because German cars truly are the new JDM cars. So like most of you, I also grew up on JDM cars. I love the Mark IV Supra, I love the R34 GTR, but my favorite car of them all is the Mazda RX-7. That car is so freaking sick. But for my very first car, I opted to get a Subaru WRX. And when I found out how expensive they were to mod, I actually was kind of upset because you've got to spend something like 10 grand to get a simple 400 horsepower out of that car, which is way more expensive than I ever thought I'd have to spend. So for my second car, I got an A90 Supra, which is technically a JDM car, but technically not because we all know that car is a BMW B58 engine. And that is exactly what made me fall in love with German cars like my M3. So when you think about the traditional JDM icons of the 90s, what do you think? You immediately think of two cars, the Mark IV Supra and the R34 GTR. And what do those two cars have in common? They both have a legendary inline-6 turbo engine. And off the top of my head, the only company I know that still makes turbo inline-6 engines is standing right in front of us. This is the BMW S58 engine. It's a twin-turbo inline-6 engine that makes 500 horsepower to the wheel, and it's built off the BMW B58 platform, which is in the A90 Toyota Supra. A lot of JDM guys think that Toyota actually built the B58, which is not the case at all. The B58 was in production from the BMW 340i starting in 2016 all the way up until 2019 when they built the Gen 2 B58. Rumors are that Toyota approached a couple different Japanese companies, but no company made an inline-6 engine or was actually willing to put the money into R&D for actually developing a new inline-6 engine. So Toyota went to the only company that did make inline-6 engines, BMW. And the B58 engine was known for one thing, being able to make and hold that power with very little mods. There weren't really a lot of other supporting mods that you had to do on that car. All you really had to do was the downpipe and a tune. All you BMW drivers know that. So in 2020, they released the Gen 2 B58, which they put in the A90 Toyota Supra, and it was also in a couple other cars like the M240, M340, M440, and etc. And now it's pretty much in every single BMW car, from a performance M240 all the way up to a BMW X7 family SUV, because it made decent power, and unlike every other BMW hater will tell you, it actually was the first BMW engine everyone across the board could truly say was reliable. Around the same time, they also released this thing, the BMW S58, which was a B58 pretty much with an extra turbo. They also revamped the entire engine and made it more motorsport focused for an M car like the M3, and that's why it was so good. It's like a B58 engine with an extra turbo, but beefed up everything, and it had that real motorsport feel that all the M cars really needed. It wasn't just an M performance engine, it was the best engine that BMW has ever made. What is it about modern JDM cars that makes me say that modern BMWs are more of a 90s JDM car than the modern JDM cars that we have today? Let's go down the list very briefly and name every single JDM car that's on sale nowadays that doesn't live up to its true potential. The modern WRX is pretty much dead. Not even WRX enthusiasts like it, and like I said, even if you got a last gen, you're still spending like 10 grand to even touch 400 horsepower, and they also are very unreliable. We all know about the head gasket issues. The WRX in general is known to be this great tuner car, but I really don't think it's that great. I would have loved the modern STI, but that doesn't exist anymore. What about the 86 and BRZ? Those are great cars for sure. However, they're not very easy to modify because they don't come turbocharged from the factory. And to slap a turbocharger onto that car, you're looking at a lot of money, and it's very unreliable when you do so. But those cars are just extremely slow, and you can't really do a lot of power mods unless you actually turbocharge the car. Hondas and Acuras are pretty good. I do really like them, but when the Type R came out, that markup was insane. And for Integra Type S, you are still paying something like 55K. Although the Integra Type S looks beautiful, it is one of the best looking cars on sale today. Why would I get a V6 with 320 horsepower for the same money that I can also buy an F87 M2 competition, a base manual G87 M2? If you want speed, a BMW M240, 340, 440i all cost around 55K or less if you get them used. The Integra Type S is really just a bad deal when you look at the competition and how much horsepower they come with, and also the luxury interiors that BMWs have. And I'm not just glazing BMW here, we're also talking about Audis and Mercedes in the next part of this video, but the Integra Type S is really a bad deal. The Civic Type R is a pretty good deal, but like I said, you can still even find a used BMW M340 or even an early model all F80 M3 for that price. And yes, those F-Series M cars do come in a pretty good manual. So Mazda's not doing anything, Honda and Acura is not doing anything. What about Toyota? The GR Corolla is also a fantastic car. I really love that car, but you can also just get way better cars for the money. Infinity's not doing anything. Actually, the Q50 and Q60 are probably some of the best JDM cars on sale nowadays. Yes, the interior is dated, but you can still do a lot to the engine and make some pretty good power out of those. So for Q50s and Q60s, I'll give them a thumbs up. But the Nissan Z's gotta be the biggest disappointment of them all. That car was supposed to come out and destroy the A90 Supra, and it absolutely did the opposite. The Nissan Z was so bad that they can't even sell them. They were literally begging people to take them off the lot. It shares the same exact chassis that they've been making for over 20 years from the previous Zs. And on a Z, the fact that you can't even turn traction control fully off to actually do Nissan Z things with the car completely boggles my mind. Legit, the only two good JDM cars on sale nowadays is the R35 GTR, which is 18 years old. Yes, this thing can be drafted to the Japanese army, and the A90 Supra, which is a BMW. And that's not even to mention how expensive R35 GTRs are to build, and also the transmission problems that do come with that car, because I've heard nothing but bad things about that single clutch transmission. So it's actually funny to say that the best JDM car on sale today is a BMW. Now, I know what you're thinking. If you're not a German car fan, you probably think that German cars are still insanely unreliable, but that's not really the case in 2025. You see, yes, BMWs, Audis, Mercedes, all of those German cars were very unreliable in the past, but they've learned from their mistakes and built upon them. And they've improved pretty much across the board in every single category. Take this S58 engine, for example. You can put simple bolt-on mods on this thing, catless downpipes, a mid-pipe or exhaust, air intakes if you want, tune this thing, and you jump up from 500 horsepower to the wheel to over 750. Like I said, that's simple mods. Those catless downpipes will run you about $400 to $500. A single mid-pipe will run you about 700. You don't really need air intakes, so I won't include that. And even though these ECUs are still very hard to unlock and you do have to send them overseas in order to do so, you can do that for $1,000, get $500 for an MHD off-the-shelf tune, and just like that, you're into the car for less than $2,500 and you have 700 horsepower to the wheel. And yeah, the M3 is pretty expensive, but you can do the same thing with a B58 engine. Get an M340 for around $35K. If you get a 2020, you don't have to send your ECU out, so get a $500 tune, a $300 catless downpipe. And you know what? Throw in a custom tune for $1,000. You just spent $2K, you're into the car for less than 40 grand, and you have a 500 horsepower monster. I can mention the S55 and the F-Series M cars. That's a fantastic engine and also a very fantastic car to drift and drive. It is a way better drifting car than any modern day Nissan is, so if you're getting that itch to go Tokyo drift, just get an S55. But if you don't like BMW and you have a little bit less to spend, get an Audi S3 or Volkswagen Golf R. That car has a 4-cylinder in it that's a lot cheaper and can even touch upwards to 600 horsepower. If you still want an Audi and have a little more money to spend, get a 5-cylinder Daza engine. This thing is literally half a Lamborghini Huracan's engine, and we all know about Lamborghini Huracans and how good they do in Texas 2K. And this engine comes in the Audi RS3 or the Audi TT RS. You are literally getting a baby R8 with half an R8 engine for half the price. All four of these cars, the Golf R, the S3, the RS3, the TT RS, are all some of my most favorite cars in the world when we're not talking about BMW. I genuinely think if I never got this car, I'd probably have a TT RS right now. But it doesn't stop there. There are also tons of other cars like the C63 AMG, the C43 AMG even, that are a little less reliable but still make some crazy horsepower numbers with bolt-on mods. We can also throw in cars like the BMW M5, the BMW X3M and X4M, the SUV version of this car, the M3. Even cars like the Audi S5 and RS5, even though they aren't super popular, they are still fantastic cars to modify. And yes, plenty of these cars that I named today do come in manual options as well. There's also DCTs for the track and ZF 8-speed torque converter transmissions like in this car for straight line speed. Now we have covered a lot today, and I've got to say, as much as I hate the Edgars and G37s that have now upgraded to Q50s and Q60s, I do have to be honest, those cars are kind of cool. If I ever wanted to buy a cheap, affordable daily JDM sports car and I wanted to modify it and make some really good power out of it, I'm probably going to buy a Q50. I already had a Supra and I bought that car because I love JDM cars, but that car is what made me fall in love with BMWs and how easy they were to modify. Trust me, if you've never driven a BMW, you have to absolutely drive one before you go talk your stuff in the comments. Every single person that I've known that has hated BMWs, either because they thought they were unreliable or because nowadays everyone has one, which, spoiler alert, everyone has one for a reason. All of those friends of mine, I've literally offered the keys to my M3 and said, here, drive it and let me show you what it's all about. And most of them, if not all of them, have absolutely loved the car. So please, if you grew up a JDM guy like I did, just give a German car a chance. Take one out for a test drive if you can't drive your friends, and I promise you, you will fall in love with it because there's more than meets the eye with these cars. And I'm not counting out the LSs, I'm not counting out the Coyotes. Those cars are also amazing too. But for most of those cars, the supercharger kit is very, very expensive. Doing a simple cat delete on an already turbocharged car like this is much more simple and much easier to do yourself. And above all else, it is way cheaper to get the power out of this thing than it is to get the power out of an LS or Coyote engine. Yes, fully built Coyotes and LSs will beat almost anything, but from a daily driver and price to modify perspective, German cars really take the cake. So thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Like I said, there is no other company on the planet Earth that is making inline-6 engines as good as BMW is, or just making them in general. And to me, I'll take a turbocharged inline-6 engine over a V8 any day of the week and twice on Sunday, because whether it be a 2JZ, an RB26, or an S58 or B58, I just love the power they put down and how easy they are to modify, and I love the turbo noises above all else. And although I'm still a JDM guy at heart, I just wish they made better cars, and faster cars as well, because from 40K all the way up to 100K, there are only two good JDM cars that you can buy today: an R35 GTR that's 18 years old, or an A90 Toyota Supra that is a BMW. So if you're still buying a JDM car in 2025 expecting to modify it and make huge amounts of power, I'm hoping this video helped change your mind, and I'm hoping someday you consider buying a modern JDM car, which is a German car. With all that being said, guys, my name is Ryan, this is Gears and Gains, this is my JDM 3. Follow me on all my socials down in the description below, and obviously subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and have a great day.